We seem to be in a fashion moment where anything and everything is allowed. You can't break the rules because there are no rules. And while I'm a huge fan of pattern mixing, in fact, I live for it, I do wonder where we'll go from here. I mean, we've been pushing the boundaries of fashion for a while now, so what happens when we break the boundaries? I definitely don't think this is an accident. I mean, fashion reflects societal movements. I feel like Zoe from Grownish saying that.
Argument.
My closing argument is, fashion has always been a powerful political tool used to communicate a message, positive or negative.
And while our world's not perfect by any means, it's more progressive than it's ever been before. And while this is a great thing societally, in that it pushes back against all the isms and phobias that we want to push back against, when we're strictly talking fashion, is it possible to be too open-minded? What grounds us if there are no rules and no norms? How can we call something good if everything is good? How can one outfit be particularly cute if nothing is ugly anymore? I think this ties in, and this is kind of a tangent, but I think this ties in with the postmodernist art movement, within which you can hang up a blank canvas with one coat of white paint on it and it'll sell for $20 million. I found this article in the New York Times that admittedly sounds like it was written by a hating boomer, but it talks about how best dressed lists used to be like a thing that people put stock in, and now they're becoming archaic. Here's a quote from it, and I'm going to be reading, so I'm sorry. In our fractured world, where the individual has become ascendant and the digital sphere has elevated the obscure to the influential, where trends have devolved into everything you want all the time, and formality has become a choice rather than a professional diktat, the idea of an unnamed group of people ruling on who is best dressed seems increasingly as anachronistic as No White After Labor Day. Best, with all its implications of a certain elite and ineffable taste and style, seems tied to another era, one in which a small group acted as gatekeepers of power, not to mention social and cultural capital. I think it's good that fashion is so experimental now because I think it helps people express themselves and quite possibly figure out who they are at a much younger age. I grew up with media like High School Musical and Glee, which not so subliminally sent the message to screw the status quo, to be not just one thing, but both or all of the contrasting things that you want to be. Fashion nowadays kind of reminds me of one of my favorite Walt Whitman quotes from Leaves of Grass. Do I contradict myself? Very well then, I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes. I think it's so cool that that quote is concretely reflected in our literal contrasting patterns and style mixing. I was told repeatedly, starting at a very young age, that jocks can be musical theater nerds, and that smart girls can also be main character pretty. And those are awesome messages to send to kids. I grew up in the schools where picking on the uncool kids wasn't really a frequent pastime of the so-called cool kids. And I think that has a lot to do with the media that my generation grew up with. And I'm very thankful for it because I definitely would have been picked on if that had been the case. I always had my face in a book and I dressed myself in the 4th grade. I personally didn't even watch this show, but on Saved by the Bell, which is an early 90s sitcom, there was a nerdy character named Screech, and he dresses, from what I've seen on Google Images, almost eerily similarly to current runway models. He would fit in so well on modern Nickelodeon, Disney Channel shows that it makes me wonder if he wasn't living a double life, just pretending to be a nerd on Saved by the Bell while being Henry Danger's time-traveling cousin or something. But anyway, I do wonder to what degree it's possible to completely eradicate fashion rules. In the same way that you can't do literally everything you're interested in without losing your identity completely. You can't be a musician, an author, a rocket scientist, a star basketball player, and a model, and so on and so forth. Or you'll just end up overwhelming yourself. If you try to do too many things, you'll do all of them badly. So if we're allowed to do everything in fashion, are we ruining fashion? I don't have the answer to that question, and I don't intend to get it. I don't know. I'll keep thinking about it. Another thing I think is really interesting is how one's personal style can change. Earlier today in Goodwill, I took pictures of a couple of shirts that high school me would have adored, but that current me isn't very interested in. I used to love floral. I would wear almost anything with flowers on it. Now, I mean, I still like floral, but it has to be kind of daintier flowers, or there needs to be like some vines and leaves intertwined with it. So what changed? I wonder what part of myself I was expressing through that floral that I have now left behind. Was it the part of me that was insecure about my looks and didn't feel feminine or pretty enough? It's definitely plausible. Also, I love horizontal stripes now. In fact, I recently took a week-long trip to Yucatan and I challenged myself to wear only horizontal striped shirts while I was there. I did not achieve that goal, but it's almost ridiculous how close I came. What part of me is that? Am I expressing the fact that I've become more organized and orderly in college? The fact that my life makes a lot more sense to me now? The fact that I see the different parts of my personality not as crossing or canceling each other out, but as running parallel to each other? And why don't I like vertical stripes as much? Like, what's with horizontal stripes? I think it's really cool. And if you think I am thinking way too hard about this, I mean, you're probably right, but also I have proof. This is an article in my course reader from a previous semester here at Millsaps, entitled Mind Games. Sometimes a white coat isn't just a white coat, by Miss Sandra Blakesley, which was published in the New York Times. Oh, this is chock full of New York Times. It's about something called embodied cognition, which is basically just the belief that your clothes really do dictate how you act. It talks about a particular experiment they did. Quote, "In the first, 58 undergraduates were randomly assigned to wear a white lab coat or street clothes. Then they were given a test for selective attention based on their ability to notice incongruities, as when the word red appeared in the color green. Those who wore the white lab coat made about half as many errors in judgment as those who wore regular clothes." So fashion is affecting us, and I don't really have a mind-boggling conclusion to all this talking I've been doing, but basically I think that being able to express yourself through your clothes is so wonderful, and I love that we don't judge how people dress as much as we used to. But also, I think we need to be careful with where we as a society take fashion, because it means a lot in the social and just real worlds. If you liked this video of me pretending to be an expert on a topic I am literally in no way qualified to talk about, leave a comment below and tell me which topic I should disgrace next. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna do the cool transition thing.